Hi, everyone, and welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond. My name is Lisa Strauss Lawrence, and I am a bereavement specialist. I want to say hi to Susan Capersa, my co-presenter. Susan, nice to see you today.
Good morning, Lisa, and it's so nice to see you. You were away last week, so we missed our video, and I missed you in 1 week. So thank you for that. I'm Susan Capersa, and I'm an end-of-life doula and a legacy specialist. And we are here today with a wonderful guest, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest today. So I want to introduce Mike Demetrius, and Mike is here on Long Island. He lives in Amity Harbor with his wife, Jean, she's a school teacher, and his two beautiful daughters. And in addition to being an American Cancer Society, which is the reason why we're here today, volunteer, and a spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, Mike is a chairperson with the National Aging in Place Council. That's the Long Island chapter. And he's a financial advisor as well. So I'm really excited today. And I'd like to introduce to you Mike Demetrius. And Mike, thank you for being our guest today. This is wonderful.
And thank you both for having me. It's a privilege to get to give people good information about the resources that are available at the American Cancer Society.
Yeah, so important. Lisa and I really looked forward to this today. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here.
Me too. Of course, you're welcome.
Very good. So I want to know what compelled you, Mike? What compelled you to becoming a volunteer for the American Cancer Society?
Thanks. You know, Susan, it was during a period of introspection well over a decade ago. And I come to the realization that I have been very, very fortunate. Like many other people, I've had my share of trials and tribulations. But at that point, I'd come to consider myself to be gifted. And looking around, also realizing that there were folks around me that maybe weren't having it as well as I was, and looking for an opportunity to give back to my community. The first thing that I found when I began to look around was the Habitat for Humanity opportunity. And that was great. You have, folks rehabbing houses and helping out those in need. However, this is in Georgia. No one's giving away houses on Long Island. So there wasn't as much activity here as I thought I was up to. So I kept looking, and that's how I came to find the American Cancer Society.
How long have you been involved with them now, Mike?
November will be my 10th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a long time. Congratulations.
It's truly been a joyous ride.
Oh, wonderful. Now, I know you're going to share your screen with us today and show us a few screens that you prepared. That would be wonderful.
So much great information here.
Sure.
And let me just step aside here for a moment. All right. So you can see our information here on the screen?
Yes, got it.
Good. So there's a tremendous amount of information there, and it's available for folks on a 24/7 basis. We have trained folks that are available to provide you with good information, to provide patient support with health insurance, clinical trial guidance, nursing, transportation, lodging. And what you'll find a fairly common thread throughout this is that the best way to reach us is the 800 number down there on the bottom, 800-227-2345, or cancer.org. And
that's wonderful. Maybe we can mention that number again when we're finished.
Sure, and I'll write that down as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that they were available 24/7 like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike, can you tell us about the support that's available for our patients?
Sure.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
no, I can. Thank you. I just had a little glitch here. We have several missions. So let's start with Reach for Recovery. So when in treatment, you may want to connect with somebody who knows what you're going through. And what we try to do here is to closely match the patient with the survivor. So Reach for Recovery, you're provided with a trained volunteer who has survived breast cancer. And it's also an opportunity for survivors to get involved as volunteers. And it's also can be part of the healing process.
Mhm. So important to have support.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's an opportunity for survivors as well.
Yes. Yeah. And that can be part of the healing process. So for folks that are comfortable with technology, there is virtual help available for patients, caregivers, survivors who are beginning diagnosis, during treatment, and after. The Cancer Survivors Network is an online community where folks can share their stories, ask questions, get support, and you can register at csn.cancer.org. So that's a direct website just for this program. And the American Cancer Society also has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And you know, a lot of a lot of seniors aren't computer savvy, unfortunately, but a lot are. You know, I don't know what that percentage is yet. So being comfortable with technology is important even for the family members of somebody who's going through this.
That's true. And cancer doesn't know ages. And for that matter, familiarity or a comfort level with technology doesn't either. So I've met, young folks who can't handle technology and old folks that are better at it and vice versa. So it's good that they have the ability to either use the conventional 800 number, or if they wanted to take it up to that level where they get the virtual support, they can do that too.
Right. Is this similar to the Reach for Recovery
Yes.
that you were
Yes,
speaking about, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes cancer patients experience short and or long-term effects that can affect their appearance. The Tender Loving Care program helps with that. And they also have a dedicated website and phone number that's down here. So the Tender Loving Care is found at tlcdirect.org. And that website, you can explore around there to find various things that can help you with what you're experiencing. And again, if they don't have access to the website, they can call the 800 number. And this is a rebranded version of our former Look Good, Feel Better program, which was very, very well received.
Mike, I want to ask you real quick, is it possible?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, you don't have to go back. You don't have to go back, but I saw, the WIG program, and I know that that's huge. And I know that a lot of people don't know about that. Can you just elaborate on what that means?
Well, I think what it means to the patients, because and that's why I bring up the fact that it used to be called Look Good, Feel Better, because that by essence and its nature was what it would do. It would take folks who were going through a real hard time, and part of that, or was compounded by the fact their appearance had been affected, and having the ability to have some of their original look, restored. Was found to be very, very beneficial.
Yeah, and are these free of charge? I don't know if you mentioned.
They are.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful service, right, Lisa?
Yeah. How do you get out the word about all this? Because I don't think most people know about it.
No.
Doing the best I can, but those two things, the 800 number, the website, and the YouTube channel, we're trying to get it out in all different places. We don't spend a lot of money on advertising. In addition to the resources that we're talking about today, there's a tremendous amount that's put into financially, that's plowed into research, lobbying, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things you will not find is spending a lot of money on is advertising. Unfortunate, but that's the way we get the best management.
So I guess people really become educated when you do things like this. And, I'm sure that you speak at other places and all, and that's the best way to get educated. Otherwise, just you would call the main number, I imagine, and they let you know about all these services, right?
That's why these high-level overviews just given the person idea of the breadth of resources that are available for cancer patients.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. We appreciate you coming here and saying this today. So, of course, it sounds like the road to recovery has a special place in your heart, Mike.
Yeah, so going back to when I was researching opportunities to give back, I stumbled across the road to recovery. And the concept was just, it was so obvious to me. You're just helping a neighbor who's in need, getting to and from their treatment. And I was already trained because I was my dad's driver when he was in treatment.
Wow.
And going back to being a kid, from the day I got my learner's permit, I was offering people rides. So it just seemed natural to me. So it was just a really easy fit. And this is where volunteer drivers will take their patients, their neighbors to and from treatment. And pre-COVID, we were providing up to 500,000 rides a year.
Wow. Wow. And it sounds like this is probably the most universal way to volunteer for people that want to get involved.
It is. When you look at some of the other volunteer programs, they're going to be limited. I'm never going to be able to give good advice to someone who's going through breast cancer. But any average guy like me, with a clean driving record who just wants to give back, just provide a little help to a neighbor, can easily spend a few minutes in their car taking someone to and from. And I'll tell you, the rewards, they're life-changing.
Yeah, it really is. And for people who've never volunteered before and done something like this, or any kind of volunteer efforts, all three of us here today can testify to that it's so fulfilling. You're not only fulfilling a need, but it fulfills your own heart as well.
It does.
That is an absolute truth. But I also need to say that volunteerism is not for everyone. It clearly is not. I don't want anyone to think that they should be compelled to do something that they're not comfortable with. I think the message really is that if you're looking for a way, and this may not be the way, but if you're looking away, it is really, really fulfilling, and it can go as far as life-changing. So you should take a look into that. And for Road to Recovery, our 2021 program is going to be completely revised, and it is coming soon. We are in a holding pattern that's due to COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, and let's say that folks have to travel long distances, Mike, to get to their treatment. And I got to tell you, this personally hits home for me because I have somebody that actually stayed at that place in this picture.
Wow.
So we're trying to make it easier for patients and their families through the Hope Lodge and the Extended America Stay program, Extended Stay America program. We currently have 30 Hope Lodge sites in the US and Puerto Rico from coast to coast. This is not the one in Manhattan. I'm not sure if it looks familiar to you.
Oh yeah, it looks exactly like the one in Manhattan, I think. That
Okay.
I've been to.
I'm trying to remember if it was the Green Center, because it's been a while since I've actually been in the building, and I didn't get to spend much time outside. You just run from Madison Square Garden into it, and they've got so many great things going on there. And in addition to those 30 Hope Lodge sites, Extended Stay America is hotels, motels, properties that I've had a hand with getting involved with providing those free and discount stays, more from educating the managers of those properties that they can provide free and discounted stays for patients who have to travel long distances to get to their treatment.
That is wonderful. So in other words, if one of these 30 centers are not near you, that there still are other availabilities through these extended stay hotels and motels.
Exactly. From where we are here on Long Island, there are several properties that have been generous enough to provide unused rooms to patients that have to travel long distances, and we thank them for it.
Oh, it's so wonderful. And I just want to add a little tidbit about when I was here for a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Words can't even describe how beautiful it is on the inside. I mean, there were places to, rest and unwind and zen-like rooms, and it was just incredible to me to be able to go and visit my friend there and sit with her, and it was very peaceful and calming, and I appreciated that about it. So I'm excited to see that you're sharing this today.
And even during COVID, we're able to provide a safe atmosphere for the patients and their families.
Wow. Wonderful.
So let's next focus on help for caregivers. We have a caregiver support video series with advice for caregivers. Again, directly back to cancer.org, or you can use that trailing resource locator to get directly to it. But it's a great place for caregivers to go, because it's hard for folks who have help. It's even harder for folks that don't have the care that they need. But caregivers need support also. And then next is aftercare. The resources there, we strive to improve the quality of life for survivors as they transition from treatment to recovery, and they'll be able to find information for survivors, healthcare professionals, and even the community with regards to resources. There's a long resource link there. However, short story is, again, we can go back to cancer.org to find that information, or to use the 800 number to be guided to those resources. You'll also find information on staying active and healthy during and after cancer treatment, and some inspiration and hope and stories from others.
That's wonderful.
Michael,
Now-
do you have
Go ahead, Lisa.
Michael, do you have ongoing support groups for cancer patients and survivors?
There are. There certainly are, and there's those resources are available. I personally don't have any individual experience, but there are, yes.
Great.
And
Right.
again, that's, you just go to the website or
Yep.
or make the phone call. Now, I do know, looking at this slide, you know, a lot of people want to include the American Cancer Society in their estate plans. And how does something like that work?
So there's a variety of ways to do it. You can see there's a punch list over on the right, starting with the simplest instrument that most folks are familiar with, and that is a will. Fun fact, you must have a will to include a charity. It doesn't matter, even someone with, my relationship with the American Cancer Society, if I was not to make mention of them in my will, if I was to die intestate, the judge overseeing my estate would make no award to a charity. So just something that some folks don't realize, but there's inside that checklist, there are some tax management tools that I am familiar with as a financial advisor. And your direct contact there would be our lovely Jennifer, who is in our Manhattan office. And again, the website there, you can go back to cancer.org, or you can use the trailing locator planned giving as well. So it's very important to have the necessary documents in place as soon as possible. For example, a healthcare proxy or a power of attorney. But when you get to that point, communication, as many other times in your life, is going to be key. So communication between you and your cancer team, honest discussions of exactly what you want and how you feel. Some of those documents can help make it easy to put into the language that's easy to convey at that point. But cancer puts a huge physical and emotional burden on not just the patient, but also the folks closest to them. It's one of the most stressful events that both patients and those around them, that their loved ones, can experience. But you've got to talk through it. You've got to, on both sides of the coin, try to accept what each person is saying, not to try to fix or change how they're feeling. Through the these various resources, your care team and the folks around you, you're going to make the most out of a difficult, if not truly horrible situation. So additionally, I want to point out to folks that if they're not already familiar with Susan's work, they should be. Documenting your life through your words and pictures is a legacy that can be passed down for generations. And there's just no way to put a value on it. And I want to thank Susan for the work that she does.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'll turn it back to you.
What a wonderful presentation. And you know what jumped out at me, what jumped out, that last slide there, is actually the raw and honest communication, right? Because Lisa and I have spoken in many videos we've done on this, and the importance of having the open and honest and raw communication from the beginning, to pre-plan, to set some things in place from the beginning and talk about it throughout, because guess what? Miracles happen every day, and I've seen it and I believe it. And maybe that end diagnosis won't come to fruition like you think that very first day. And even if it doesn't, what did it hurt to talk about these things and to get all the help that you can get? And the resources from the American Cancer Society, they offer so much. Make this road that you're traveling be a little bit easier for yourself. And if the person that's diagnosed can't do this, the family member can, right? So anybody watching this video today, hey, jump in there and lend a helping hand and get the information for them. With the wigs, with the, you know, the travel and the giving the rides to people. People don't think of these things. So this is all awareness. So I thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention, Mike.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah. Lisa, you
And
went through
great resources. I went through this, Mike.
Yeah.
So my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and unknown for a couple months, you know, just general symptoms and whatever, and finally diagnosed. As 15 months going through that. And we were very clear from the very beginning on what he wanted, what he didn't want. We made it very clear to doctors. We looked for people who, you know, agreed with us, et cetera. And I was in cancer care group. It was a support group for people whose family members were going through. And I didn't know whether that was attached to the American Cancer Society or not. It was a great group of people. We all yelled and screamed and cried and, you know, understood what each other was going through at the time, feeling very helpless sometimes as well. It was a lot. It was a lot to go through. And at the end, it was hospice at the end and at home. That's what he chose. So, but it was a long process. And, you know, I've known a lot of people with breast cancer. I'm not sure they know about all these wonderful resources, especially transportation, things like that. We're certainly going to get this word out. But these are really
I think because, you know, I think because, Lisa, like it says here on the slide, a great deal of time and energy, and it is. Life becomes overwhelming, and it's, you know, it's bad enough to have to deal with a diagnosis, but now you have to deal with what ifs and what's going to happen to your house and your family, and sometimes, you know, depression and sadness, and you're not always thinking about, wow, let's pull some of the positives. Well, maybe if I made that phone call, and the doctor may not recommend this to the patient, which every one of them should, I think, but they may not. So if they're not recommending it, how do you know to go make the phone call? How do you know to make the phone call and get the resources that you can get?
Exactly. That's the point of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Really important information, Mike. And good work. Thank you for all the volunteer work. I'm a great volunteer too, and I really believe in volunteerism. So important to give of your time. Yeah,
we both do. So
do you have any walks or anything coming up, or anything that is an event that's coming up that you should announce at all?
We have, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be at an event here on Long Island in Rockville Center, a Pink Timber event on tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may be a little late, but
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen things that you do throughout the year, you know, in different places. And I guess all that information would be on the site again as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And simple Google searches for local events, American Cancer Society events near me. You know, we'll bring you to things in your particular area.
Right, because they are easy to find, you know. and it's-
October's a big month for walks. It's always a big month for walks by Jones
there are-
Beach and all.
Yeah, and there are a lot of religious institutions. I think we have a Strides event coming up in a
Okay.
couple of days. But there are a lot of great resources that are actually outside the American Cancer Society. We have religious institutions who do good work, even individual businesses providing wigs and makeup, you know, for folks going through treatment. So there are a lot of great resources out there. We have a lot of great resources, but we're not the only game in town.
Yeah, but you're a huge organization. How old is American Cancer Society? Do you know?
I'm going to go with 100 years.
Wow.
I should know off the top of my head. I'm ashamed that I
Yeah.
don't.
That's all right. That's all right. I was just wondering because I know it's, you know, one of the oldest.
I'll brush up for the next one.
And where's their headquarters? Do you know?
DC.
DC. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're in Washington, DC, but for no need to travel. Give us a call or go to the website.
Sure. Great
Very
resources.
good. Well, wow, that was
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you. And then if you need any of those details, you know, the 800 number and all, you can always that's the great part about video, right? You can always stop it and go back and pause it and get the correct information that you need. And
Mhm.
these slides were really wonderful, Mike, because there were a lot of information on there. So they may want to go back and carefully read those for the resources as well.
Absolutely.
Good idea.
Thanks so much, Mike, for all
Thanks
your
for
work.
joining
You're
us.
welcome. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Lisa. See you next
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Good seeing you. Bye.